All right, welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to today's video. We're going to talk about fair value gaps and how we can consistently profit day to day in our own trading. Okay, your trading, I do it every day in my trading by looking to find or searching for those to see if there's gaps. Okay, fair value gaps resting back at our supply and demand zones. Understand that it's critical, it's crucial, because if I do not see a gap, a void, a fair value gap back at my supply or demand zone, I am not going to trade. All right. For one, the area becomes no longer viable to me, no longer an area of interest. Okay. So I simply pass it up. We're going to take a couple look at a couple examples on both the ES futures, on the NASDAQ 100 futures. Not going to go in detail about the strategy breakdown because I talk about my strategy and how I use it each and every day in my own trading across multiple videos here on this channel. Trust me, if you go and watch the videos and educate yourself, you'll probably start to see your trading turn around. Don't take my word for it. You can come over to the Discord community and ask some of the fellow members over there on the Discord community, or all of them, or how many ever you want to. If you want to post a general chat question over there on the general chat channel, you can do yourself that favor. And you'll see that lots of people who've been loyal followers here on the channel have picked up on the way that I actually trade. And it's a very simple strategy, and they will tell you how effective the strategy actually works in the future markets. I mean, supply and demand is universal. You can trade across no matter the market. But one of the critical parts or elements of my trading is that within the strategy is that I must see a gap, a fair value gap, if you want to call it that, a void back at the supply zone or demand zone. All right. So let's take a look here at a couple examples. I showed yesterday in the video talking about how you can use a strategy and, make money every single month. Okay. This video is, we're not going to break the strategy down because I did that in yesterday's video. And again, I did it in so many other videos. But look, you see here, this area right here, all right, this is a demand zone, all right? It's demand because we have a continuation of breaker structures, which is one of the steps or elements into the strategy I use, all right, especially when we get down to the lower time frame chart. But when we start marking the zones from a higher time frame, we always want to size up and make sure that we see some means of a gap, a fair value gap, a void, all right, back at the zone. Here's an imbalance. You can call them imbalances as well. All right. That's all they are areas where the market needs to come back and correct itself. The market has to fill in those areas to balance itself out. Understand that. This is an imbalance. Okay. You can also call it a fair value gap. Small area of a gap right here back to a demand zone resting right here. This is critical because this is what makes the difference of a trade failing or succeeding. Understand that. And if you just wait for great setups like this right here to unfold off of a higher time frame market and then move down to the lower time frame and then follow the step-by-step strategy, that I talk about in many videos. You'll start to see your profits grow. If you got a small account, regardless if you're trading the micros or e-minis, you will see your profits start to definitely grow. So look, this is again a demand zone. There's an imbalance. There's a gap there resting back in this area. So I'm interested. All right, let's move on to the next one. That's a demand zone. Here we have a classic case of a supply area. Just take a look. The market's breaking structure to the upside, and that's one of the key things you must understand and master is market structure if you want to, become profitable, become consistent. And have some means of consistency in your trading. All right. If you want to become consistently profitable, please follow what I'm trying to say and just back test it. Okay. But you have to use this in cooperation with the full on strategy. Okay. If you're someone that's interested in receiving my trade breakdowns and the video playlist where I've got a link by link series of videos to where I go in great detail about the strategy I trade and break down trades. Okay. So you can see, kind of understand my mindset. My mindset when I'm talking about when it comes to how I actually trade. And you can see me take those trades and I talk about the areas I'm looking for prior to getting into the trade. And once I'm into a trade, where I'm looking to take the trade to, where my stop loss, where would I put a hard stop at, those type of things. I would definitely recommend joining the Elite Channel Supporter or Elite Channel Membership tier, which is right here on YouTube. All you have to do is click on the join button, or you can find the link down in the description portion of the video. Right under the Discord link, there's one that says become a member. Click on it. There's two tiers there. Make sure to choose the one that says Elite Channel Supporter, or it might be maybe titled Elite Channel Member. and take a look at it. Either one, make sure to click on the one that starts off with Elite, okay? And join that for $6.99 a month, and you get access to the private portion of the video. $6.99, not $699, okay? It has made the difference between so many traders that are part of our Discord community, from not profiting to now profiting. Trust me when I say that. If you don't believe me, again, come over to the Discord and ask. All right, also join the Discord. It's free. Simply find the link down in the description portion of the video. Okay, so moving on. This is a supply zone right here. What is supply? Supply is aggressive selling, okay? But again, I want to only mark areas or zones where we have aggressive areas of selling, for one, okay? That's one of the key recipes, or I should say recipes, ingredients to the recipe, meaning the full-on strategy. But we must also see where there's a gap, okay, or imbalance, a fair value gap back at the zone itself. There is. You see right here, there's a gap right here, okay, fair value gap. So that makes the zone higher probable, a higher probability area for me to take interest in. All right, so I'll simply wait for the market to tap in there, move to the lower time frame, look for the full-on setup and the strategy that I talk about in so many videos. Again, if you want to learn so much more about the strategy, watch the videos, or simply do yourself the favor and become an elite channel supporter by clicking on the join button and clicking on the join button and becoming an elite channel supporter for $6.99. Anyway, but pay close attention to price action when it gets back to zones, because it may start to break structure to the upside. And when we see things like that, then you must understand that even from a short-term basis, the market can start to try to press higher, especially when you see it start taking out internal or minor areas of structure back to the upside. So we got to forward back here, breaking structure to the downside, and then pushing higher, and it's aiming for this prior high right here, and it does take it out. But there's probably some rejection to at least take the trade back down to this key area of support. All right, moving on. Showing you examples of areas of imbalances or fair value gaps resting back at a supply or demand zone. Pushing lower, breaking structure to the downside. What do we see right here? We've got a gap. We got a fair value gap. We got a void. We got an imbalance. Whatever you want to call it, just understand the market has to correct itself and balance itself out. It has to. All right? So it pulls back to this area right here. Great area to take a short from. Supply, imbalance, fair value gap, resting back at the zone right here. That's why I have it marked off there. You look for, again, a setup here, mark off the higher time frame, move down to the lower time frame, look for the rejection confirmation to get to the trade. Going where? Back down and fill these imbalances, these fair value gaps back to the downside towards the low right here. It's as simple as that right there. I marked off this zone right here. Why did I mark this zone off? It's in green. It's a demand zone, okay? There's a fair value gap. There's an imbalance resting back at the zone here. Pushes up, pulls back, starts breaking structure to the upside. Now, we didn't ever come back to this area here 100%, but it did fill in some imbalances back to the upside, or some fair value gaps, okay? If you don't know much about fair value gaps, let me quickly show you what we're aiming for to look for. These areas right here, okay? All right, in between these candles. You see that? One here, okay? It's also in between these candles. There's fair value gaps. It came down. These gaps. It filled these areas in here. Okay. Let's see here. I'll give me 1 second, right quick. Okay. There was an area between here and here. A gap. It didn't fill it in 100%, but it filled this area here in, and then it shot back up to the upside. So we never got the pullback to right straight to this area here. And what we're looking for is the market to come back and fill in areas, always meaning correcting itself back down to the demand zone. It didn't do that. Had it done that, then we could look for rejection to go what? To go long. It's as simple as that. And you continue looking for these type opportunities at supply and demand areas. All right, we're on the NASDAQ 100. Take a look here. See this here? Aggressive buying to the upside. We are already moving to the upside, breaking structure to the upside, pulls back. We have a demand area, and we have an area or imbalance or fair value gap back to the zone. Once it taps the zone, I'm moving down to the lower time frame to look for the remaining part, or to wait for the events to unfold for confirmation on the 12 range chart. Okay, I talk about the strategy in so many videos and how it's worked. Okay, but here, this is the critical part is finding a zone back on a higher time frame, making sure that it's one, you got a demand area in this case here. Two, you got a imbalance or fair value gap back to the zone here. That's all we're doing. All right, here's another area here. Again, we're on the higher time frame chart. Breaking structure back to the upside here, pushes up, pulls back, aggressive buying, a demand area. Okay. Now watch what happens when the market comes back to this area. Okay, it is a demand zone. But one thing I tell traders always to do is pay close attention how far when the market retraces back to a demand zone, how far it pulls back into the area. Is it a high probability setup? Yes. Do we have area of aggressive buying? Yes. Do we have a gap back to the zone? Yes, we do. But look how far it comes into the zone. Now, this is where I'm very mindful, because as long as it doesn't break through the zone, the zone's still valid. But if it breaks through it, then it's invalid. But just be careful when you see the market pull deeper into a zone. Sometimes it may try to push through that area. So again, we want to, no matter how far it pulls into it, we want to look for rejection off of the lower time frame 12 range chart. Again, when the market does pull back here as well, if you see it pull back, tap the demand zone, wick away from it real quick. That's a form of rejection, real quick form of rejection, and typically I get into trade setups like that aggressive. This is a supply area. Market's breaking structure to the downside. Aggressive selling to the downside. There's a fair value gap, imbalance, resting back at the zone right here. All right, supply zone. Get the rejection. Look what it does. It pushes up there. It hits it to the tick pretty much. Okay, and it pushes down. It's kind of moving sideways right here, rotating. But as long as, again, that doesn't break deeper into it and break through it, then we're good to go. It's just wicking into the zone, and then boom, it rejects it. If you go down to the lower time frame chart, again, this was on January the 9th, but it's showing you example after example on the chart and what you can look for. Look for the rejection on the lower time frame. Basically, what we're doing is looking for rejection means by a close of a candle in an opposite direction. Once we have that demand set up on the 12 range chart, again, I talk about the strategy so much here on the channel and so many videos, so please do yourself a favor and watch the videos. Once we get the rejection in this area here, it moves to the downside. Okay, and it's going back down here to fill in any imbalance and correcting itself back to the downside. Again, the market has to balance itself out. So that's all I want to really show you, is that how powerful it is when we see those fair value gaps or imbalances resting back at a supply or demand zone, especially on a higher time frame where you have the fair value gap resting at a zone. You know, I mean, it's one of the highest probability setups that you can actually catch. Okay, all you're doing is wait. You go ahead and you see it unfold. You see either supply or demand zone unfold, okay? Mark the zone. Wait for it to come back there. And then once it rejects that by looking at the lower time frame chart, looking for confirmation, take your trade in the direction. This was a pullback to supply, go short. We're looking for pullbacks to go long, back to demand. It's as simple as that. Supply and demand is powerful stuff, but when you couple it with fair value gaps or understanding the gaps and voids and what I talk about in so many different videos here on the channel, you'll see how powerful this stuff is, okay? Again, if you're interested in becoming an elite member, all you have to do is click on the join button and, click on and become an elite member for $6.99 by choosing that elite channel supporter tier, all right? Also, the Discord is free. Find the link down in the description portion of the video. Do yourself and myself a favor, guys. I'm pushing out valuable content like this each and every day. If you found value in what I'm talking about, and I'm telling you, this stuff is powerful, please drop a like on the video, okay? Also, make sure to subscribe if you're not a current sub to the channel by clicking on the subscribe button, and turn it on all your post notifications by clicking on the bell next to it. Turn all your notifications on so you never miss one of the uploads here on the channel. I'll see everyone in the next video. Tomorrow is a trading day, and I'm looking forward to this week. And I'm wishing everyone to have a profitable and successful week. Take care.